Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Lennartson. I am an air quality permit engineer with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, and I am here today to talk to you a little bit about meal planning and meal prep 101. A little background: I've been meal planning and meal prepping for probably 5+ years or so. I started when I was in college and went all the way through grad school and still do it every single weekend now. I find that it's really nice to have all of my lunches and breakfasts and such prepared and already portioned out in the refrigerator. So that way, when I pack my lunch for the day, when I go to work, it's just kind of grab and go. And then I have some items on hand that I can make for dinner pretty quickly at night as well. So, to get started, the first step is to grocery shop, but from your phone or computer first. So many stores have apps now where you can search through the ad and even find extra coupons. Otherwise, you can just go to the actual website of the stores as well. There are so many stores in the Twin Cities metro area. I usually shop at Aldi or Fresh Time, so I will compare the ads for those two stores, see what's on sale, see what kind of piques my interest. But of course, you've got Cub, Hy-Vee, Lunds & Byerly's, Whole Foods, Target, Walmart, etc. There are many of them out there. So I like to just kind of go through that, and I actually base my menu for the next week on what is on sale there. So, for example, if ground meat and bell peppers were on sale, maybe I would do a stuffed bell pepper or something along those lines. So it just kind of gives you an idea of what sparks your interest, what's on sale, what you might buy for the week ahead. And then plan your meals and inventory your cupboards, fridge and freezer. So this is what my refrigerator and cupboards and freezer and countertop looked like when I made this presentation. I got a shipment from Imperfect Produce ahead of time, and I got an eggplant in there knowing that I wanted to make this coconut milk, ground turkey, eggplant kind of goulash. So that way I had the eggplant, and I kind of figured out what I needed from there. So when I had the idea of what I needed for my menu for the week, I then wrote it down, figured out what I had on hand, including spices and everything, and then saw where my gaps were. And from what I needed is then how I listed it all. So like I said, my usual week, I do a breakfast that I bring to work, I do a morning snack, and then I do a lunch, and then I make sure I have extra food on hand for dinner. So this week in particular, I remember I did hard-boiled eggs, so I needed some eggs, and then I did I think I did bed of lettuce or spinach, and then I roasted some sweet potatoes and put that on there, knowing that I would then put my hard-boiled eggs on top and heat that up once I got to work. And then my morning snack is always, it's usually a piece of fruit with some carrots or some type of vegetable, and then like almonds or hummus or something like that. So I got some fruit, some sweet potatoes, and eggs to go with that. I have a banana every morning on the way to the gym, so I got some extra bananas, and then I also got some ground turkey meat. And because I've been doing this for a while, I know that I can get 4 portions of meat out of one of these packages of ground turkey from Aldi. So I bought one for my lunches, and then I had an extra one and a piece of salmon for protein for dinner, for whatever I ended up wanting to make when the time came. So then prep and store it. So for me, like I said, I like to have everything portioned out individually, so I can literally just grab the one individual thing, put in my lunchbox, and then go. I have noticed though that if I have like bags of carrots or celery on hand, I am much more likely to eat it if it is already washed and cut up and put into little baggies. So I have some of these reusable Ziploc bags that I have in my vegetable drawer. So I just I think I had cut up bell peppers and celery and carrots in those. And then it was either blackberries or blueberries, can't quite remember, but portioned those into 2 containers. And then I just had my citrus in there as well. And as you can see here, I think I have, there we go, some animation. So they're the hard-boiled eggs. So just hard-boiled them, stored them in a Ziploc bag. That way I could take 2 out every morning and bring them to work. those are my lunches. So cooked everything up in the pan, portioned it out, and that way I had 4 lunches ready to go, because I usually work from home once a week, and or have a flex schedule. So I'm really only needing to prep for 4 things, or 4 days worth of meals. And then there was my spinach with some of my with some of that sweet potato in there. That was my breakfast. And yeah, so that's what my fridge looked like at the end there. And I know this could be a little overwhelming for some people. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, or maybe you hate leftovers, I'm the type of person where I am totally cool if I end up eating the same thing for all of my meals for an entire week. I've always been that way. I really don't mind leftovers. But if you maybe hate leftovers, or whatever kind of what's going through your head right now, meal prep is super customizable to your lifestyle. So like I said, you could just cut up your fruits and vegetables and store them for the week, and maybe that's your version of meal prep. Or you can meal prep in bulk versus portioning out. So I like to portion out, but maybe you would rather have instead of, the portioned out lunch that I did, maybe you just want to make that lunch and then keep it in the fridge in one big container. Or maybe you just want to meal prep a big batch of rice and a big batch of chicken or chili or lentils or whatever you're feeling for food that week. You don't necessarily need to portion it out into individual portion sizes. That's just what works best for me, but maybe it doesn't work best for you, and that's totally okay. Or you can even just take 10 to 15 minutes at night to prep ingredients for the next day's meal. So just a couple weeks ago, I made a pot roast, and I knew I wouldn't want to have to wake up in the morning to start chopping carrots and potatoes. So what I did is I chopped those the night before, stuck them in some water overnight in a Ziploc container in my refrigerator, so that way my potatoes didn't go bad and oxidize. But then that way I could just dump out the water and dump it right into the crock pot with my roast in the morning. So that was, 10 to 15 minutes at night that really helped me make the next day's meal go a lot quicker. Or you can meal prep versatile ingredients. So this is always the example I give. If you don't eat meat or don't eat chicken, just fill in the blank with whatever works best for you. But say, for example, crock pot chicken. You put a bunch of chicken breast in the crock pot at the beginning of the week, and you have shredded chicken. You can put that shredded chicken on a sandwich. You could put that shredded chicken on a salad. You could make that shredded chicken into taco meat and have tacos. Or you could use that shredded chicken and end up making like barbecue chicken sandwiches one night, or put it in a soup, and just kind of look for those ingredients that are super versatile, and that way you won't feel like you're eating leftovers, but it's just a quick way of helping you like make your meals faster, first of all, and also reduce waste too, because then you won't end up throwing that chicken out. And that leads into meal prepping reduces your food waste. So I like to save all my vegetable scraps for making homemade stocks and bone broths. So I have, I'm up to 2 now, Ziploc bags in my freezer, which I call my garbage bags. And this just has all of the ends of like celery and carrots, or onions, onion skins, really anything that is vegetable related. Or if you want to do a bone broth, you could also keep any of the bones. So I'm pretty sure I had my parents gave me the carcass of our Thanksgiving turkey, and I put it in there, and I made a really great turkey bone broth out of it. So you can just keep that stuff in your fridge, make a really great stock or bone broth, and then end up composting those scraps. But they at least get one more use before they're composted, which is really great. And then get creative in using up ingredients in your fridge. With that, eggplant and ground turkey goulash, it wasn't a hot dish, goulash, I guess I'll call it. I needed tomatoes, and I didn't want to have to go out and buy tomatoes because I actually had a little bit of spaghetti sauce left over in my refrigerator, and I had some that was sitting on top of spaghetti squash, and I honestly, guys, was just not feeling the spaghetti squash and spaghetti sauce that week. So what I did is I took my leftover spaghetti sauce, put it into the pan, and then I scraped off the spaghetti sauce from this meal, and I used that as the tomatoes for the recipe Excuse me. And then I ended up just freezing the spaghetti squash, which is still in my freezer. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's there. It's not going to waste, and I'll think of something to use that in the future. And then the recipe also called for some coconut milk, but you only needed half of a can. So to use that other half of a can, you could either freeze it, or what I did this week is I then used that as creamer in my coffee, and just kept it in like a mason jar in the fridge, and it didn't go to waste. So because of this, I feel like I only buy what I need for the week ahead, and that helps me reduce my waste because I'm not just going to the grocery store buying ingredients hoping I'm going to use them. I actually only buy what I need, and that way I am able to use it all and then compost what doesn't get used or is kind of at the end of its life, like if you were to use the scraps here and make a bone broth. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. That is my email address right there. I am more than happy to answer any of them. This is something I am super passionate about and find a lot of joy in cooking. And I don't mind spending, a couple hours in the kitchen on the weekend, knowing that the only thing I then have to cook during the week is my dinners. It saves me a lot of time, and it keeps me eating on track and eating healthy, because it's a lot easier to reach for carrots and celery when they're already cut up versus going for, the chips or something else that might be a little bit more convenient. So again, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.